Welcome back, everybody, to the Quarter Century Soldier, my mini series about my service in the United States Army for the last quarter century. So this year we are on 2019. 2019, the year before COVID, before everything changed. 2019, what's going on in 2019? Let me remember. It was another good year. Tell you, man, my years after 2017 were excellent. 2019, so now I'm in Hawaii. I just arrived in Hawaii September 2018. So I got 3-4 months in my position. I took over the microbiology section, which I was kind of upset at the time because I didn't want to do that. But the person that was there before me knew who I was. So he was looking to move to a new job. So he was bigging me up so he could move to a new job, right? So they bit the apple. And then I took over microbiology. So under microbiology is bacteriology and virology, right? So it's pretty intense section. It was one of the largest in the lab. I had 13 soldiers. So now I'm senior level, right? I don't do the middle management worker stuff anymore. Basically, I'm managing people. 13 soldiers, 17 civilians. I'm responsible for the day-to-day operations. So anybody has an issue, bitches and moans and gripes, complaints, like I get all of that, right? Making sure people come into work. If people don't show up, I'm the problem solver. People have to take off for vacation. People have to take off for holidays. I am the person that you come to talk to. And I'm okay with that. You know, I like being in that position. What we had going on in micro, we had the top soldiers in this section. Like I told you, when we are in the hospital, we're one of the smartest jobs that's in the Army. And then when you have a lab tech who is good physically, they're pretty much unstoppable because we have the mental capacity, again, to learn 2 years of George Washington associate's degree material, basically in 12 months, 6 months classroom, 6 months clinicals. So we're nerds. We're smart. Usually nerds are not very athletic. They're not very athletic. So when you find one that is, when you find a nerd that is good athletically, especially in the military, it's a win-win situation. So that's what we had a lot of in micro. We had ambitious soldiers. We had people who were good at their job and just good role models. So what we were able to do is I was able to screen the new people coming in. I had just left the schoolhouse. So I knew the people that were, in San Antonio. So once we got like a list of students, or we got a list of people who were getting assigned to the hospital, I was able to call back and be like, yo, what's the 411 on this person? Are they good? Are they not good? Like, what are we doing? So, if my friends that were here were telling me like, I'm saying, I don't, that person, didn't pass their PT, or, that person barely passed the course. They were on their last leg, or they had like some character issues, got in trouble or something like that. We kind of steered away from them. We were building our own all-star team in the back, right? And it was just a really good synergy that I didn't want to mess up because our iron sharpens iron. And the way that you motivate people, I know people are going to say, well, if you put a person that is not motivated or not ambitious in that environment, they change too. I mean, sometimes, not necessarily. What happens is sometimes they get overwhelmed. They can take that road, or they can just continue to be, the bottom feeder. So what I did is I tried to screen out the ones who were, ready to go, who wanted to achieve once they hit the ground. Some people come with, issues, marital issues, child issues. So I tried to screen out the ones who didn't have that. I did a decent job. So my first year in 2019, I was all about just making a name for myself. So I was involved in a bunch of different things. So they had an air assault program where you can send people that you thought were ready for air assault school. So we had an evaluation program. As a person who fell out of their helicopter back in 2002, I'm qualified to go. So I'm able to evaluate candidates that's going. So I was able to, be a part of that program and to test their knowledge, to test their physicality. And this is everyone in the hospital, not just my section. But we did have a couple people from the section that went, and performed beautifully in the course. We got people promoted in this section. It was just a high octane section. And I loved it because coming from being an instructor, again, we're some of the best that are out there. And the schedule that I was on of being to work early, because they're just looking for you to mess up one time, and then they're just trying to kill your career, like I've already been through. So I'm used to getting up early. I'm used to, maintaining that standard of how you're supposed to look and act. So I was ready to go when I got there, because not everyone else has that mentality. Again, it's gonna wear off because it's about where you are, and there's not a lot to maintain that op tempo of a lot to do, unless you want to just burn yourself out. Again, it's Hawaii, so a lot of it's really laid back. It is a really laid back environment, naturally so. Aloha Friday. So when I got there, people used to talk about Aloha Friday. So I was like, okay, like when is that? I thought Aloha Friday was almost like a local holiday, like a unwritten local holiday. It's every Friday. So basically Aloha Friday is, I don't give a fuck. We'll worry about it on Monday. So basically everything shut down as far as like paperwork wise, customer service wise. It shut down Thursday evening. If you didn't get like paperwork and stuff done, that wasn't an emergency. If you didn't get that stuff done before like Thursday, you just had to wait till next week, because the locals on Friday, they come in their Hawaiian shirts, their slacks, their hats, and they're just chilling. It's a real thing, and it's every single Friday. Like, you really are not going to get much done. And I know people think that they're going to go and they're going to change that culture. You're not going to change the culture. That's just the way that it is. So you get used to it, right? And then you start to adapt it. Like, hey man, it's Friday. I ain't doing that. I'll see you on Monday. So again, this is where I start to apply again. Well, let me stick to what I was saying. The high op tempo. So then I have a person competing for NCO of the year for the hospital. And I'm actually probably a conflict of interest, but I was fair all the way through. I had my soldier competing for NCO of the year, and then I was running 3 of the lanes for the competition. I wanted to actually take it over the next year. So what I did was, I just ran 3 of them. Again, that's me stepping up, because like I said before, I never try to step on people's toes to look good. Like, oh, pick me. I'm so great. I do that because no one else is stepping up and it needs to be done. So I wasn't supposed to do 3. I was supposed to do 1, just like everybody else. And I think when we started going to these meetings, people couldn't do it. Like they had to drop out or whatever like that. And so I think I forgot what my actual lanes were, but they were kind of similar. So I was able to absorb 2 other lanes in mine. And so when I say lanes, for those that don't understand, it's just like events. So for events, you would have land navigation. So they would have to navigate and find points using a compass. You have physical training. Then you have like warrior task and battle drills, which is just like first aid, how to use a radio, just different events that they have. So I was leading three of those lanes. So he ends up winning NCO of the year. So we have the NCO of the year in our section, right? NCO of the year, I was part of it. So we're on cloud 9 right now, because now we get to go and we get to compete for like NCO of the year for the entire Hawaii. So Schofield Barracks is another Army base that's there. And then they have Fort Shafter, which has some units there. So basically you're going to compete against everyone who's on the island to be NCO of the year. He came in, well, I think that was PACOM. I think Alaska came to compete, and maybe somewhere else. Maybe Japan was in there. I forgot who all was in there, but it was different units all to come and compete. He got third. He did really well, but he was a sergeant E5 at the time, and he was competing against E6s, E7s, other 5s. So he did really well, even though he didn't win it, but he did win the Soldier of the Year for the hospital. So we were really happy about that, and happy for him, because he was really good. You can tell a talented soldier, right? Talented meaning, one, if they're good physically, that's 90% of it right there. So he was good at doing physical fitness. And then when you have the ability to motivate others, to lead others, and that is a skill that is moldable. So if you can't do it day one, as long as you're willing to learn, that's another thing, to be coachable. And so he was really squared away. He knew his job. He's really smart, good physically, and then he was coachable, meaning he was willing to learn. And so that is a dangerous combination. So I always saw and knew that he would be his own limit, right? Because he had a personality. It wasn't a personality of arrogance. It was a smooth confidence, right? He knew it. And like once you got to know him, he opened up. I'm not gonna say he was a little bit like me, but you definitely had to have credibility like with him. And so I was his direct supervisor, but I never treated it like that, right? Because I knew that he had potential to go far. And so what I don't want to do is I never want to limit someone's potential just because, again, I'm smarter than you, I'm over you. No, man, it's just, you're going to run into people who are better than you at the job. And so even if you're their supervisor, you have to acknowledge that. And so I acknowledged that. And he was getting things done when he fucked up. Like we had conversations like, hey, you fucked up. And basically it was those things where it's interaction with other people. He had that same mentality of, if you mess with the people who are in my direct supervision, we're gonna have a problem. But there's a way to navigate that. There's a way to speak to that. There's a way to handle that issue without the eyes turning on you and making you the issue, right? Because that's all people are looking for. They're looking for you to say something, to get out of pocket, to where now they can jump on you and now, they can blame you for something. So that was his only issue, but he was still learning. And so that's some things that's going to happen while you're still learning. He was really good. Last I heard, he was instructing in San Antonio. So I know it's just a matter of time before he gets promoted all the way up. It's as far as he actually wants to go. So that made things a lot easier when as the senior, I'm supposed to be dealing with people above us, shielding the people below me from the people above us. Because the people above us just want bodies. Hey, we need somebody to clean this. We need somebody to stay overnight here. We need somebody to work this. We need an extra body for this. And I'm just like, no, we're just not going to do that. It's really hard to be a soldier in the hospital because, one, you have to maintain your proficiencies in the hospital, in the work that we're doing, because we're actually handling patient samples. Two, we're soldiers, so we have those qualifications we have to keep up, just the soldiering. And so both of those clash. The tech in us, the civilians that work in the laboratory, they want us there working, continuing to put out good results and knowing what we're doing. The commanders and all of that, they want us to be the best soldiers we can be, because they're saying, the civilians are supposed to be doing the job. So it is a real back and forth. It's a real tussle. And that is the problem with working in the hospital. So that is what I had to deal with. It was easier because I know that he was there and he's able to manage everything while I'm not there, right? I can't fight the good fight and be away from the section if when I leave, it's in shambles. So you have to build up the people below you so they can lead in your absence, right? You have to, I'm not here, everything continues to move smoothly. There's no issues. And, that's the good sign of a good leader, is that everyone's able to function kind of without you. You come in and you look around, you make sure everything's good. And whenever I came around, they're just like, hey, what do you need? Like, you good? You're all right? Like, relax, yo. Like, I'm not the Grim Reaper. I'm just coming to make sure everything's okay. That's part of my job too. Is like, I don't want to show up just when there's bad news. I also want to, be there, be available just when everything's going right too. I don't want to be that dark cloud over everybody. So we had a really good synergy. We had a really good energy in our section. So that was really great in 2019. And also, after we had that first competition, we had another one at the end of the year, just because of the way the fiscal year works. It starts in October. And so we sent another person to compete for Soldier of the Year that time. So we were the only section to send someone to 2 consecutive Soldier of the Year competitions. That is so hard to do. It's rarely been, I'm not gonna say it's never been done. It's rarely been done. But that's how good we were at just training people up. We had people that wanted to compete. And that's the hardest thing, is getting people to compete. But we had people that wanted to compete. So he didn't win, but he left everything he had out there in competition. At the end of the day, that's all we asked for. It's you just try your hardest. And if you come up short, somebody else was better that day. And that's okay. You tried. There's a hospital of over 500 people that aren't competing because they don't want to. You know what I mean? So the fact that you are able to compete, you want to compete, is a big deal. And that's not something that should be overlooked. So we took great pride in that. And this is the year before COVID, because everything pretty much shuts down the next year. So for me personally, I'm still getting my packet together. I get the signatures that I needed because COVID hasn't started yet. They didn't shut down everything for COVID until March of 2020. We'll talk about that in the next video. So I'm still, and this is how I know what they were trying to do to me at Fort Sam was some bullshit, because I had the same packet. I had the same ambition. I want to sign up for the DAS. This is what I want to do with my career. I can do whatever the hell I want to do with my career. And they let me. There wasn't no put it in a folder so everybody can can read through it the proper way. It wasn't none of that stupid shit, right? They were just like, hey, the packet's all together, submit it up for signature, and then you submit it to Washington, D.C. to see if you get accepted. And so it was just like that. I actually ended up like losing a year, losing probably 2 years of experience of doing that job just because people want to be assholes and people want to make it more difficult than it actually needed to be. So yeah, there's nothing I can do about it now, but yeah, that was, that just showed me that it was really a crock of BS, that they could have let me apply, but they just didn't want to. And that, you know, all's well that ends well. I still got to do it eventually. But that was the year of 2019. We are rolling. My section is like unstoppable, tops in the hospital, right? Because, you know, we're getting our training done on time. We have proficiencies. We have people competing in competitions. We have people getting promoted. We have people going to schools and completing those schools, and just not everybody's able to do that. And so when you have a section of just rock stars, your leadership knows that. And so the difference in leadership was they would give us a hard time. You know how people are just like, oh, you know, so what are you guys gonna do today? Like, what do y'all not gonna compete today? Because, you know, y'all be trying to win everything. I like jokes like that because you recognize just how fucking good we are. You know what I'm saying? When we come up, when we send a representative from our section. So the section was micro, but the bigger part was the lab. And so we didn't compete within the lab with each other. If another section from the lab sent someone to do something, yeah, we supported them. And so the lab was really successful as a whole. The other sections were just really, really busy and didn't always have the ability to send people. We were just a little bit slower, and we just had some rock stars back there. So we were always I always had to keep the soldiers doing something because they were motivated to do stuff. And so once you have people that's like, I want more, I want to try this, I want to do this, I want to do this, you have to foster that. You can't suppress it, because that's going to be a detriment to them. You can't, somebody's ambition, man, you can't stop that. What happens is they get pissed with you because you're limiting their success. I know that for a fact because I'm like that. Like, if you don't want to compete for a competition, that's fine. That's okay. That's your choice. But I want to compete. So why not let me? Why not let me? So I didn't have a reason to not let them. They were competitive. We didn't win everything, but we were right there with everything that we tried. So that was really good. I just knew that's where I'm supposed to be. That's the rank I'm supposed to be at. I'm supposed to be a senior. I'm supposed to be leading groups. A group of what? 40, 30. A group of 30. And I am the point man. Like, I am the hub. People have issues. People have conflict. People have good things happening. We have civilians getting awards. We got timesheets being turned in on time. We it was a glorious time. 2019. Everything was just working out really, really well. And then we go into 2020. So we'll get into 2020 on the next episode. That's when COVID hits. We're working in the lab, so it affects us differently than it affects everyone else. So we'll get into that in 2020. If you haven't watched the previous episodes, please do check them out. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Watch it live on Twitch. Watch me live on Twitch. Check out all of the social medias that I have: Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, What is it? Instagram? Did I say Instagram? All right. Well, I'll see y'all in the next one.